See, we all got demons, right? We all don't embrace them.
We all got our demons, but mine are the meanest. They won't let me get too close to the ones I need the most. They're angry and violent, they show uninvited. So you better run away, for my demons come to play. Hey.
Dear Lord, it's been a while since I talked to you, and this a different type of hell you got me walking through. Last time it was my soul that I had offered you, but you ain't never answered all the prayers that I was talking through. I guess you figured I was strong enough to fight the fight. That's why you kept my name surrounded in all types of hype. Beefing with some rapper cats, drama, you could have it back. You unleashed the beast into an unfamiliar habitat. Yeah, and now I'm coming for the throne. If this a war against the stars, I'm coming for the clones, taking everything I own. You see, the booth is my home, and when I'm there, you'll never take me out my zone. I am fed up, and they know that I never let up. See, they could knock me down, but they know that I'll always get up. Like, ain't nobody dropping tracks like me, or making hits back to back to back to back like me, so fuck 'em. Takes for us to get lost, for us to find a way. I used to never speak, take my thoughts, keep them locked away. Couldn't pinpoint the problem, it was hard to say. All the shit I never entertained, now bother Trey. Scumbag, loser, low life, and they resent me. But over time I saw the jealousy was envy. I realized that these people never left me, cause they were never there when my life was getting heavy. All them struggles and the hard times was hustling for our grind, and never stopped to think what I was fighting in this dark mind. I dealt with shit that most people couldn't handle, and when I spoke my mind, they say I'm flying off the handle. Deads rolling in their grave, urns flying off the mantle on some Sandman shit. Watch me reassemble, see my life ain't nothing special. It really ain't. Try dealing with the fact that everyone you love left you.
It's the devil inside. We all got demons. How do you embrace yours?
We all got our demons. Mine are the meanest. Let me get too close to the ones I need the most. They're angry and violent. They show uninvited. So you better run away, for my demons come to play. Hey.
Type of place where the body levitates and the feet get lifted. Welcome to an elevator state, like an elevator way to the heaven when the soul starts drifting. Everybody getting there up in a place with a gift for running troubles, running ripping in the human race. Welcome to your elevator state, on the elevator way. We got up in the clouds, don't miss. Elevator state to another type of place where the body levitates and the feet get lifted. Welcome to an elevator state, like an elevator way to the heaven when the soul starts drifting. Everybody getting there up in a place with a gift for running troubles, running ripping in the human race. Welcome to your elevator state, on the elevator way. We got up in the clouds, don't miss. First off, I'ma elevate stage, set erase the pace and develop a new base, develop a true taste, trigger tongues, elevates and waits for no man. When I'm standing at heaven's gates, I erase the evil, the game chase the people, levitate within the body that I face the evil, meditated for the journey cause I trace the sequel and take it back to when God took dirt and formed people cheer. I put in work for the kingdom, they come and fit the Holy Spirit burning deep in my back when I'm running. I'm an automatic erratic attack dog gun, I'm a backlog facts, a stack of brain can't coming. How am I feeling to live in the rain pain? Never come on when I'm giving them hoping to maintain. Rise above it when I'm spitting by living the same game. Where they love it cause they know I'll be keeping it so real. Easy does it to my push past the hate they gave and continue to looking up on my thinkings I'll levitate. And I cannot retrace the steps of my past. When the blast equals the cemetery gate, so I take it to another type of place where the body levitate till the soul starts drifting. An elevator state, come and follow me where your feet start lifting. Yeah. Take it to another type of place where the body levitate till the feet get lifted. Welcome to an elevator state, like an elevator way to the heaven when the soul starts drifting. Everybody getting there up in the place with a gift for running troubles, running ripping in the human race. Welcome to your elevator state on the elevator way. We got up in the clouds, don't miss. Elevator state to another type of place where the body levitate till the feet get lifted. Welcome to an elevator state, like an elevator way to the heaven when the soul starts drifting. Everybody getting there up in the place with a gift for running troubles, running ripping in the human race. Welcome to your elevator state on the elevator way. We got up in the clouds, don't miss.
Take a step out of the body, the board soul. Remember the one road, whatever we call home. Give it back into the Father who gave us one song, be the true told. Yeah, so rise up, keep the new individual, revelated, levitated up, it's so incredible. The devil be seeing what you're doing, and we do it to be proven that the Holy Spirit moving. Come on, I said levitating as a demonstrator, need enough space in this whole room to be big enough to cut it all I've been through. So I'm taking it back to the basics, bass hits with the bass licks, more motivation than a nation that enables motivation to be saving. Waking every morning thinking, Lord, I cannot face this, better face this, but I'm faithless. But I've been keeping the aiming up and at your graces. Meditation telling me to go with her, oh don't, but I don't know, and I hope won't. In the same boat, better grab hold, elevate to greatness, weightless, held up by the Savior's graces. Looking out around at all these ages' faces, eliminate any of the imitations to your places. Ready, set, let's go.
Another type of place where the body levitate and the feet get lifted. Welcome to an elevator state, like an elevator way to the heaven when the soul starts drifting. Everybody getting there up in the place with a gift for running troubles, running ripping in the human race. Welcome to your elevator state on the elevator way. We got up in the clouds, don't miss. Elevator state.
Yo, stay. This life short, don't wait. Rise your feet to levitate. You never know when too late's too late.
Welcome to your elevator state.
Yo, stay. This life short, don't wait. Rise your feet to levitate. You never know when too late's too late.
Welcome to your elevator state.
Yo, stay. This life short, don't wait. Rise your feet to levitate. You never know when too late's too late.
Welcome to your elevator state.
Yo, stay. This life short, don't wait. Rise your feet to levitate. You never know when too late's too late.
I'm living in a new state, homie, cause I've been elevated. I'm renovated to the place that I was designated. Through meditation and intense concentration, I can help you take your pineal gland and activate it. Take a deep breath and open up your third eye. Look into the sky through the rings and fly into the promised land, living it where the peace resides. So I can clear my mind and let time rewind. As an astral project in the Silenus temple to recover ancient knowledge from a spiritual kinfolk. So we can imitate the God was supposed to resemble. With the enemy tremble, the kinetic assemble. An dimensional craft made of heaven and mentals. Breaking free of the flesh and the spiritual vessels. When the mission from the Father fall. When the end comes with days like Noah, where the acid rain falls. I sit and meditate upon the visions that my fam saw. Start to feel my chakras aligned and I blast off. Flying and confined by the world, they got my cast off. I'm elevating higher and higher and I can't stop. Vibrate and phase through dimensions. Ride the wave and displace for attention. Start to levitate and hang in suspension. Embrace the fire in my soul, I'm ready for ascension.
Elevators take you to another type of place where the body levitate and the feet get lifted. Welcome to an elevator state, like an elevator way to the heaven when the soul starts drifting. Everybody getting there up in the place with a gift for running troubles, running ripping in the human race. Welcome to your elevator state on the elevator way. We got up in the clouds, don't miss. Elevators take you to another type of place where the body levitate and the feet get lifted. Welcome to an elevator state, like an elevator way to the heaven when the soul starts drifting. Everybody getting there up in the place with a gift for running troubles, running ripping in the human race. Welcome to your elevator state on the elevator way. We got up in the clouds, don't miss. Elevator state.
Bitte Vaterland. Bitte Vaterland. Vaterland.
Can't reverse, no hurts. Spotless disperse my curse. When I step out, all I see is black birds. I'm in love with the dog, no tricks. Burning at the stage like a Salem witch. Can't reverse, no hurts. Spotless disperse my curse. When I step out, all I see is black birds. I'm in love with the dog, no tricks. Burning at the stage like a Salem witch. What's the trust into mine? Ain't no funny to the plea, drink the bloody seed, now stand back in the face of me. The first of my is the hand of the bleed in the skin from my fires and stuff and feeling every for quantity for it to place. I'm amused by my tendency to always be away, trash bags, exposed without a trace. Use and abuse, I could beat them that grace. All up when I'm dead, no place when I'm here. Got young from the game, ain't nothing off here. And nothing off and nothing I fear, and nothing I fear in reverse, no hurts. Spotless disperse my curse. When I step out, all I see is black birds. I'm in love with the dog, no tricks. Burning at the stage like a Salem witch. Can't reverse, no hurts. Spotless disperse my curse. When I step out, all I see is black birds. I'm in love with the dog, no tricks. Burning at the stage like a Salem witch. God can't save us. None, though we over. We all fall down. Murder crucifix, I'll say the lamb, so river food, loose out, don't get the ground. Can't reverse, no hurts. Spotless disperse my curse. When I step out, all I see is black birds. I'm in love with the dog, no tricks. Burning at the stage like a Salem witch. Can't reverse, no hurts. Spotless disperse my curse. When I step out, all I see is black birds. I'm in love with the dog, no tricks. Burning at the stage like a Salem witch. Everyone polished back, stick a sun that my eyes roll back and drop heavy sun that rain pour and ravens fall. If blood all falls apart, I see the red door. Wrap around 6 times like a 7, but no slip lines. From great to stage, grow for 97 times with no more age. We can animals unlock the cage. Lemons situated up on the wall in the day. Some magnets got me twisted. The city spin the lip cigar. I fall back, but you can't catch me. I'm falling to the earth. 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 Can't reverse, no hurts. Spotless disperse my curse. When I step out, all I see is black birds. I'm in love with the dog, no tricks. Burning at the stage like a Salem witch. Can't reverse, no hurts. Spotless disperse my curse. When I step out, all I see is black birds. I'm in love with the dog, no tricks. Burning at the stage like a Salem witch. Can't reverse, no hurts. Spotless disperse my curse. When I step out, all I see is black birds. I'm in love with the dog, no tricks. Burning at the stage like a Salem witch.
For the greatest, I wanna be Nas and AZ, they was major. This is classic, I ain't think about the paper. Too much money in the majors, I'm too humble. I just wanna make classics, have a cold following that rivals all the masses. I don't wanna be Ye, he lost himself, sold his soul, fuck the wealth. Chicago needed him, shy kids believed in him. What he do, he out there deceiving them. That nigga's a snake, a black man reppin' self-hate, try to make America great. House nigga is a house nigga. Guess that's what he about, nigga. If that's fame, I don't really need it. The industry got me heated. He wasn't great, I can't believe it.
Don't say I can't have it, 'cause that just makes me want it more. Number one status. I gotta do good every time before. Don't be mad at me when I get it. You gon' be mad at me when I get it done.
Yeah,
Don't be mad.
Rock him, Daddy Kane, LL, rock bells, memorize verses early on, the shit was worth it. Studied Wu-Tang, Raekwon's flow was perfect, but Ghost was a favorite. You can hear it in my voice, love Mobb Deep, fan of the Beastie Boys. Those cats was mad wow, to live Kweli, most deaf rocking crowds, dreaming of that dream life. That's why he made the beat, yo, it seems right. This lifestyle seemed perfect, so I got to working. Pen and a pad, flip my style, write a verse a while. Classy flow, I write my shit down in cursive now. Try to take the curses out, but that ain't working out. Promote the track so they can shoot it down. Figure what I'm doing now. I guess I'm too thought-provoking. Got me chilling on the beat, catch a hook, steady coasting.
Don't say I can't have it, 'cause that just makes me want it more. Number one status. I gotta do good every time before. Don't be mad at me when I get it. You gon' be mad at me when I get it done. Don't be mad.
Tupac, Biggie Smalls was the greatest until I heard Big L. I wish he could've made it. Couldn't survive and dangerous, we'll never know. Digging in the crates, Fat Joe had a raw flow. Now we wanna make hits. I miss Flo Joe. I hate he on that Cali shit. What happened, Cartagena? This a fan, not a diss. And this fan breed this shit. Deep cover on that punch shit. Fuck the sales. To me, Terror Squad run shit. Now it's time for me to make it. But the game ain't on the same shit. Now they rockin' purses and some makeup. Bars don't mean a thing. Half these cats will get ate up. So instead of rocking mics, I'm chillin' at a job just waiting on a pay stub.
I got gold in my heart that's never been bought. I can bring you what's never been brought, cause I have seeked what's never been sought. If you have some time, then just take a listen, and maybe you'll figure out what you've been missing. My metaphors burn skin like alcohol and nobles. My words stick to canvas like pictures pasted with glue. I'm just another kid trying to make a living, writing words, trying to stand out instead of following the herd. Open up your mind and see what's going on around you. Every object you buy is turning you into a tool that's controlling you. With messages in the media, you're just another clone, they're waiting to burn ya. Hands placed upon the Bible that was written by man. Do you really think you're safe living in this homeland?
Read between the lines and see everything's a lie. Got a gun in your face with your hands pointed to the sky, robbing you of freedom and they're putting you in cuffs. They'd rather see you fail and just fucking give up, cause then it's easier for them to control everything you do, cause you won't question. So you're a fool, believe in what they say, thinking help is on the way. Freedom is a state of mind and they're taking it away. Read between the lines and see everything's a lie. Got a gun in your face with your hands pointed to the sky, robbing you of freedom and they're putting you in cuffs. They'd rather see you fail and just fucking give up, cause then it's easier for them to control everything you do, cause you won't question. So you're a fool, believe in what they say, thinking help is on the way. Freedom is a state of mind and they're taking it away.
They cause the problem and you give the reaction. They bring solutions by terrifying masses. Children sit in classes, force-fed to false educations, while CEOs with millions taking vacations. Take a piece of duct tape and place it over your mouth. That's exactly what they're doing when we try to scream and shout. Speaking our mind is just another crime. Force-fed lies to fire birds inside. Time to rise up or die. I can only say so much, I'm talking to a brick wall. No one's gonna believe it until the cities start to fall. Chaos surrounding your home, or martial law is installed. F-16 is penetrating your spine as you try to crawl. I can see the doubt in your eyes, and it's no surprise, cause you swallowed the lies. They're biding the time, waiting for the day they can take it all away. Soldiers creep across the desert at night while your children start to pray.
Read between the lines and see everything's a lie. Got a gun in your face with your hands pointed to the sky, robbing you of freedom and they're putting you in cuffs. They'd rather see you fail and just fucking give up, cause then it's easier for them to control everything you do, cause you won't question. So you're a fool, believe in what they say, thinking help is on the way. Freedom is a state of mind and they're taking it away. Read between the lines and see everything's a lie. Got a gun in your face with your hands pointed to the sky, robbing you of freedom and they're putting you in cuffs. They'd rather see you fail and just fucking give up, cause then it's easier for them to control everything you do, cause you won't question. So you're a fool, believe in what they say, thinking help is on the way. Freedom is a state of mind and they're taking it away. Freedom is a state of mind and they're taking it away. Freedom is a state of mind and they're taking it away.
I refuse to be a victim. I'ma fight for survival. I know what I'm worth and I know what I write is vital. People quote my words like it came right from the Bible. The only real thing you see is the light when your eyes close. Think about that. No, really, think about that. When we get too old, they bring us round back. Throw us away and forget us. After the earth wrinkles our mask. After they recruit us, they use us. After we become useless, they shoot us and just find some new ones. We go through life thinking we're the special ones, but the special ones grow fewer and fewer. We are just players securing their future. Get the paper and hallelujah the moolah. Instead of staying true to our viewers, we forget that snakes ain't nothing new to Medusa. Gun on my side, I ain't missing. Love on my mind, hugs and kisses. Won't say goodbye with the fussing and kicking. I'll fight for my life because I'm not a victim. Gun on my side, I ain't missing. Love on my mind, hugs and kisses. Won't say goodbye with the fussing and kicking. I'll fight for my life because I'm not a victim. If I can help it, I'll avoid confrontation. If I can help you, I'll bring joy across the nation. But I'll strap on my helmet if I'm forced into danger. Threaten me and my family and get thrown towards the angels or the demons, bliss or darkness, whichever lore you believe in. There's so much more to believe in than a Lord when you're breathing. But of course, to afford those secrets, you must have no morals or reason. What a strange world we live in. I put spirits to lyrics. If I ever speak the truth, I'm a conspiracy theorist. But you can't put fear in the realist. I'm still here and I'm near. And when people steer clear of and they feel they're severely addicted. But my addiction ain't nothing compared to what you see on television. What these rappers rap about is self-inflicting. They don't help the children. They just be cooking in the hellish kitchen, whipping up garbage to feed yet another selfish vision. But I ain't participating. I'm going against it and watch. I will still be able to get known in an instant. As long as my head don't get blown in a flow with my rants. When I die, I'll forever be known as the ghost of the limit. There's no slow on commitment. If you're showing resentment towards me, then you need to take a second look. Who's in control of the business? I'm just a vocalist spitting, hoping I don't get thrown in the home where the dope are in prison. I'm too focused to giving. I'm gonna beat me to the top, whether you like it or not. Not gonna freeze and flop. I'm the cream of the crop. I always feed for my props. Not gonna be like my pops. They say I preach like a god, but I ain't preaching religion. The only thing I believe in is me and my squad. PMR with the dogs that you fear at the park. It's the part where your jaw drops and you realize that we're here, but we've been here from the start. Gun on my side, I ain't missing. Love on my mind, hugs and kisses. Won't say goodbye with the fussing and kicking. I'll fight for my life because I'm not a victim. Gun on my side, I ain't missing. Love on my mind, hugs and kisses. Won't say goodbye with the fussing and kicking. I'll fight for my life because I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'll fight for my life because I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'll fight for my life because I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim.
Holy shit. It's been years since I touched a mic. Still a piece of motherfucking shit. Yo, I'm an asshole. I'm a fuck up. Every fucking thing I say is fucking fucked up. Yo, I guess that I just fucking suck. Damn right. Fuck. Yo. Yup, I guess I'm just a fuck up. I just wanted some love, but I'm getting none, cause I'm an asshole. I don't really care, I think that I'm cool, cocky like a billionaire. I never really learned to shut my mouth. Every single word I say is what goes south. I've got no filter, so there's plenty of pop. Yo, anything and everything is setting me off. What's up, cunt? I never learned to respect. I do what I want. Yo, I'm the worst of the best. I mean the best of the worst. When I'm spreading some dirt. Yeah, fuck your reputation, you're dead in the dirt. I fucked up again. I lost all my friends. Don't care, I don't really give up. I fucked up again. I lost all my friends. I don't care, I don't really give up. I don't give, I don't give, I don't give, I don't give up. I don't give, I don't give, I don't give. I don't give up. Right, once I started making some friends, I go and get myself banned from Facebook again. Yeah, try and calm me down, but the hate doesn't end. I'm an internet asshole, the latest in trend. I'll berate you for your views and point out your insecurities. I hate all that you do, and all of it is learned. Need to jump up in your comments or get up in your face and tell you since you're different, you're a fucking disgrace. I'm a grade A dickhead, a high class cunt. Yo, I think I'm gifted and fly as fuck. I don't care if you're my friend, cause friends are for cunts, dude. Before you block my number, just let me say, fuck you. I fucked up again. I lost all my friends. I don't care. I don't really give up. I fucked up again. I lost all my friends. I don't care. I don't really give up. I fucked up again. I lost all my friends. I don't care. I don't really give up. I don't give. I don't give. I don't give. I don't give up. I don't give. I don't give. I don't give. I don't give a fuck.
Hey, homie, what's that? My whole life flashed before my eyes, man.
You think you got me cornered, bitch, you better hold me back. I'm coming for you like a train, I'm fucking off my track, I attack. My fist in your face, my knee in your chest, you're bleeding a lot. My hand on your throat, I scream, bitch, is that all you got? I push, you fall, I step, you crawl away from me. What can you see? I stand above you, blood is dripping from my open hand. How much more of this will it take before you fucking understand? You're a joke. You live like a bitch, now die like a bitch, I'ma make you choke. You're nothing to me, I'm starting to see that I ain't broke. I'm alive, I'm alive. Now all you motherfuckers here, it started today, it's ending today. I make you live in constant fear of me. You see, let you motherfuckers burn away till all you see is me. Let your hopes and dreams and fears erode for everyone to see. The truth that comes out blasting from this booth, this time that you motherfuckers find no stopping me. I murder you. I gave you everything you need, every little piece of me. Sold my soul and now we're through. I just don't know what to do. You just walked away from this. Wish your ignorance were bliss. Took my heart and ran it through. With nothing left, I murder you.
I'm gonna murder you in a way that is oh so graphic. Gonna cause some major havoc. Panic, throw your corpse into traffic. Bust through your door and shove your baby in that fucking oven. Rip out the organs and feast upon that fucking stomach. Cut you up with my precision. You see, I have this mission to leave your body twitching after I slice your face into ribbons. As the smoke from your burning house fills up my lungs, I hear the voices speak to me in unholy tongues. You left me dead alone in a pool of blood and dirt. Man, I've got no motherfucking heart, but damn it, motherfucking hurt to see you walk away from everything that I gave to you. Put a 45 at your head and watch that bullet go right through. I split your dome in two with a motherfucking baseball bat. I love the sound it made when your skull went fucking crack. Man, I'm gonna die, but I've never felt so alive. Before they catch me, I plan on ending my fucking life.
I gave you everything you need, every little piece of me. Sold my soul and now we're through. I just don't know what to do. You just walked away from this. Wish your ignorance were bliss. Took my heart and ran it through. With nothing left, I murder you.
I love you, now love me too. I've been watching you for a long time, girly. Hello, chicky chick, it's time. Let me bend you over and put my dick in your behind. Black candles, scented like cinnamon, to get you all in the mood. Pretty corpse grip handles, cause you're a couple more pounds. I'm hellbound, but we can put together now when I die one day. But for now, eat the booty like pie, even though your lights out. Dig you out, pull your panties to the side, put my dick in your dead vagina and feel you on the inside. Hentai on the television, so I'm fucking your dead body with tentacles and masturbating. Thrusting and moving my hips, pumping my dick in your dead pussy lips. Yeah, it feels so good. I love you. The feel in my chest. I love you. Tingling in my dick. I love you. Got my hands on your breast. Yeah, your vagina's so cold, but I can warm it up. Yeah, with a lighter or two, and then I put it in and we start to fuck. I'm harder than fuck. I'm harder than fuck. I'm harder than fuck. I'm harder than fuck. I see you, but you don't see me. I love you.
Dead body
I play with your hair. 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 Nobody can love you the way that I do. I love you.
Dead body
I'm harder than fuck. I'm harder than fuck. I'm harder than fuck. I'm harder than fuck. I see you, but you don't see me. I love you.
Dead body
I play with your hair. 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 Nobody can love you the way that I do. I love you.
Dead body. It's that dead body love, and you know I'm a super freak between the sheets, busting skeets, making dead pussies leak. Oh no, the body's starting to turn. I'm ripping up her guts when I serve her with this worm. I'm a sick man, a necro fucking philiac, leaving dead bitches jaws full of this nutsack. Amen. Please say a prayer for me. I turn into a different entity when I smoke this drink. I blaze. So now we pick a body, dig the bitch up to make sure that she's a hottie. She got that little body that makes me so hard. See, sticking my dick in every hole on her body. I'm in love with this dead broad. I'm not gonna front. The only time I see is when I spark up this blunt. So here we go. Time to light it up. So spark up this blunt so I can kill this fucking cunt.
I'm harder than fuck. I'm harder than fuck. I'm harder than fuck. I'm harder than fuck. I see you, but you don't see me. I love you.
Dead body
I play with your hair. 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 Nobody can love you the way that I do. I love you.
Dead body
I'm harder than fuck. I'm harder than fuck. I'm harder than fuck. I'm harder than fuck. I see you, but you don't see me. I love you.
Dead body
I play with your hair. 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 Nobody can love you the way that I do. I love you.
Dead body love.
Yeah. Oh.
Laying on my bed, looking at the sky, contemplating why I'm feeling like I'd rather die. If there's any reason that I found to stay within this life, it's gotta be my daughter. Gotta never leave a fucking side. Word is born. I go to war for her and all that. This is real, this is nothing that you all rap. If you touch it, then I guarantee it's all bad. Cause I snap back, so I ain't talking about a ball cap. Fucker, y'all just suckers and I'm harboring souls. My approach is the same as Dr. Marvin Monroe. Sharp therapy and swearing we are not even close. David Carradine couldn't hang if I showed in the pros. Got a bitch that's insane, so she got my vote. Similar to these, that's the way she got on the pole. Drinking liquor like it's water and I'm out of control. The Mona Lisa would have smiled if she looked at my soul.
Feeling like there's no shame running through these cold veins. Can't feel my soul, I'm out of touch and feel no pain. And I've been thinking that I'm ready to die. No big deal. Can't leave, I still got plenty of life. I can't be killed. There's no shame running through these cold veins. Can't feel my soul, I'm out of touch and feel no pain. And I've been thinking that I'm ready to die. No big deal. Can't leave, I still got plenty of life. You'll never kill me.
but I'm feeling like I'm guilty. No rest is the best that I will be. I got demons that progress while I'm wilting. So my death will invest in it well-being. No stress, I'll impress if it kills me. Chop the screw, that's the style that I will bring. Homicidal necrophilia, so feel me, bitch. Cause I'm fucking killing the way you ever rebuild. And after going against me, no defense, and you can see what's still it. And you know it can't be understand that you proceed to jealous, but you won't offend me. No, not any rapper has a skeleton taste, so they break fast like cheating during Ramadan. When I perform my book, magic like the Necronomicon. Ripping at the flows, yes, you know that it goes on and on. Kevin Gates on stage, I kick it for the audio.
Feeling like there's no shame running through these cold veins. Can't feel my soul, I'm out of touch and feel no pain. And I've been thinking that I'm ready to die. No big deal. Can't leave, I still got plenty of life. I can't be killed.
But I'm feeling like I'm at the point. I'll either snap, go crazy, or mass destroy. This ain't a sham, so don't blame if I act annoyed. If you question what I rap and try to match the source, trying to get spins like breakers on harbor floors. It's hard when you couldn't write a check for sliding doors. You can see I get spins like a laundromat. I believe I'm sicker than a hypochondriac. Yeah, your bitch clean and I'm calling it good. Pots all on my balls cause she polished wood. Think I could if I want, but it's misunderstood. Leave blood on the walls like recording with shook. I'm depressed to the point that I can't just chill or relax, but goddamn it, I need beef in my life cause I'm famished. Plus I came to purge like bulimits after smashing on a full stomach. But I swear the answer is I'm a bad egg like ovarian cancer. Frankenstein on a beat race creating the master. Remix beautiful people like Marilyn Manson. It's alive when I'm screaming while I'm tearing up these raps. And I'm flashing bitches like Barry Allen in the sack. And I got your bitch nude, hippie hugging my tree trunk. For you should bear a little like a fucking Ewok.
Feeling like there's no shame running through these cold veins. Can't feel my soul, I'm out of touch and feel no pain. And I've been thinking that I'm ready to die. No big deal. Can't leave, I still got plenty of life. I can't be killed. There's no shame running through these cold veins. Can't feel my soul, I'm out of touch and feel no pain. And I've been thinking that I'm ready to die. No big deal. Can't leave, I still got plenty of life. You'll never kill me.
Homicidal honky, smoking loud packs in the back getting funky. Look on my back and you'll see a fat monkey. Look at me wrong and you end up in the trunky. Don't judge me, unless you wanna get your ass whipped quick and your head all lumpy. Don't fuck me, cause I'll run up in your shit and leave your living room all bloody. I'm nutty, guzzling a 40, whip out my dick cause I'm drunk and horny. Oh lordy, I better slow down, sipping on lean with a fifth of Crown. Puffing on green, you can keep that brown. Ask anybody, roof, don't fuck around. I turn a neighborhood into a ghost town. Fuck a pool full of liquor, bitch, I'd rather just drown cause
I'm so high, I'm so high. I don't ever wanna come back down. I'm so high, I'm so high. I don't ever wanna come back down.
I'm high, I'm drunk, I'm turned the fuck up. I'm high, I'm drunk, I'm turned the fuck up. I'm high, I'm drunk, I'm turned the fuck up. I'm high, I'm drunk, I'm turned the fuck up. I'ma put it in my body, fuck anybody that don't agree. I'm fucking with them trees like my name was Mr. Miyagi. A smoked out zombie in the midst of all this poverty. Drinking is my hobby when I can't afford Hennessy. I'm fucking with that Cane Cobra, still reserve. Old E, Mad Dog 2020. I should have a trophy for drinking like I do my my liver looking like a raisin, lungs looking like some prunes from the shit that I be blazing. Behaving like an animal when I get the craving. Yo, there ain't no escaping all the hell that I'm creating. I burn so many bridges with the roads that I've taken. Blacking out every night, hopefully I won't awaken. I'm shaking, bodies aching, sick of waiting for some. These decisions that I'm making's really bad for my. Ain't no faking, yo, this life I live is truly straight. And the only way I'll ever quit is if I kill my. I'm so high, I'm so high, I don't ever wanna come back down. I'm so high, I'm so high, I don't ever wanna come back down. I'm high, I'm drunk, I'm turned the fuck up. I'm high, I'm drunk, I'm turned the fuck up. I'm high, I'm drunk, I'm turned the fuck up. I'm high, I'm drunk, I'm turned the fuck up. These drugs and alcohol really got a hold of me. Unknowingly, it's the only thing controlling me. I lay back as I wait till death approaches me. Ain't no hope for me, hopefully sets me free. These drugs and alcohol really got a hold of me. Unknowingly, it's the only thing controlling me. I lay back as I wait till death approaches me. Ain't no hope for me, hopefully sets me free.
Sure. What up? I'm tired of these motherfuckers acting like I don't belong up in this bitch. Really? Trying to act like Lyrizone don't belong in this bitch. Trying to act like Legion don't belong in this bitch. Trying to act like Murder D don't belong in this bitch. Get the fuck out of here, motherfuckers. Sure. Gotta rid myself of this anger shit, feel I'm about to pop. Got a gang of swishes, I fill it up with my pop. But I'm on some heinous shit, basically it's a shock that I made it through all this hatred. I'm making it to the top. I'm here to shake it up, fakers they need to stop. They've been awakened, debating if they should drop another track while they waiting. I'm on the block, I'm impatient, I'm pitching tracks like they rocks. Let's go. I'm on a passage, a socket to fuckers thinking they popular. Bitch, be repping the underground, give a fuck about nothing, I don't belong. Fuck it. You're stopping nothing, confronting me like a jerk. I'm about to take his life like I just put in some work. Every day I feel the pain like I just did something wrong. Every day in my brain I'm hearing it won't be long. Feel the struggle, feel the pain, feel the aching in my jaw. When I look into the mirror I realize I don't belong. I don't belong. Like I just did something wrong. I don't belong. Hearing it won't be long. I don't belong. Really aching in my jaw. When I look into the mirror I realize I don't belong.
Yeah, go label me that outcast. By pros while I'm done, you can know we snapped and lead these rappers in glad bags. You internet thuggers are crazy, convinced in the fact that I won't react. Tempting my conglomerate, but lacking the attributes to scrap. Who the fuck you think that I am? To simply take this shit, thinking I'm submissive, but really the type to get lit. Guess I gotta prove to you I'm about my business by making an example of why you should have been listening. All these years, noticing the hunger's different compared to all my peers. Regardless, I'm treated badly. Seen as an average MC, though could be the illest on beats. Though you'll never see it, cause somehow I don't belong.
Every day I feel the pain like I just did something wrong. Every day in my brain I'm hearing it won't be long. Feel the struggle, feel the pain, feel the aching in my jaw. When I look into the mirror I realize I don't belong. I don't belong. Like I just did something wrong. I don't belong. Hearing it won't be long. I don't belong. Really aching in my jaw. When I look into the mirror I realize I don't belong.
I never felt like I belonged with any song that I wrote. But I stayed strong and pushed on with the hope that I get the last laugh on rap, that's no joke. Like on that last track that I smashed, I'm so dope, oh no. People are saying that I'm underrated, my flow has been developed from all of the hatred I'm shown. But either way, I'm gonna go take it and mold it into my music and use it for elevation. I'm grown, but yet I'm feeling stepped on. Man, I'm putting out an album even though I'm slept on. Hit a murder these beats, my lyrics are in the zone. But when I'm looking in the mirror, I feel like I don't belong.
Every day I feel the pain like I just did something wrong. Every day in my brain I'm hearing it won't be long. Feel the struggle, feel the pain, feel the aching in my jaw. When I look into the mirror I realize I don't belong. I don't belong. Like I just did something wrong. I don't belong. Hearing it won't be long. I don't belong. Really aching in my jaw. When I look into the mirror I realize I don't belong. Every day I feel the pain
don't belong. Really aching in my jaw when I look into the mirror. I realize I don't belong. 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 I don't belong.
J Field, power requires hustle. Jelly, I might have a drinking problem. You know. Cause I ain't got a problem drinking. You know. Man, I got a lot of problems. These drinks keeping me from overthinking. So let's just roll one up, roll a shot. Fuck it, let's get fried. Let's roll one up, roll a shot. I'm drunken out my mind. I got a drinking problem. I ain't got a problem drinking. Let's go. I got a drinking
Mind problems in my life away, fade to gray. Let the ego turn into a monster, cause I'm Tanqueray. Told my baby mama I was slowing down. But I bought the entire bar another round. Keep the party jumping till the AM. I come through slaying. Soldier checker do like Walter Payton. Fuck this dude and his 9 friends. Call this shit a strike when I knock down 10 pins. Y'all ain't even that dope at all. I'm here for the easy women and the hard alcohol. Shit turned into an all-out brawl. Swing and pull cues like Monday Night Raw. I'm just trying to get these beers thrown back. Then maybe chase the Kraken with a little bit of jack. Roll me a blunt and eat a few snacks. What's so damn offensive about that?
I might have a drinking problem. You know. Cause I ain't got a problem drinking. You know. Man, I got a lot of problems. These drinks keeping me from overthinking. So let's just roll one up, roll a shot. Fuck it, let's get fried. Let's roll one up, roll a shot. I'm drunken out my mind. I got a drinking problem. I ain't got a problem drinking. Let's go. I got a drinking problem. Get it, let me get it back. I might take a shot of tequila and mix it with the jack. Everybody know we from that drinking generation. Get my middle fingers up, cause I know my liver hate me. I might shoot a shot glass and wash it with some gasoline. Swallow a ball of fire, ain't nobody bad as me. While I'm posted in the back, blowing on some tangerine. And my bitch is bad, her ass is jumping like a trampoline. I'm a bar hopper, baby. We call that honky talking. From the south, where we say a lot, but don't do lots of talking. Yeah, I got a lot of problems, so I got some empty bottles. The falling feels like flying till we finally hit the bottom. I might have a drinking problem. You know. Cause I ain't got a problem drinking. You know. Man, I got a lot of problems. These drinks keeping me from overthinking. So let's just roll one up, roll a shot. Fuck it, let's get fried. Let's roll one up, roll a shot. I'm drunken out my mind. I got a drinking problem. I ain't got a problem drinking. Let's go.
I make my girlfriend nervous. Babe, please, I'm hardly swerving. Listen, dog, I'm probably smoking in that styrofoam for certain. Pour a shot of Jack Daniels. Now that whiskey got me lurking. I've been swimming in this Jack. I'm about to die right in the cervix. Give me 2 jump beans. I need a Sprite for the egg. Been smoking reefers wet. My beat sounding fine. Let me hit that yak. Been drinking Douce. Don't you play? Who got them perks? Them 7.5s. I mean, probably 3 them 10s and get me surfing. Some peeking through the curtains. About to crash without it swerving. Y'all can hit my line be 5 p.m. before I surface. Shout out to all my drinkers. What's up to all my losers? If you need me, I'm with Jelly. I hit therapeutic boozing.
I might have a drinking problem. You know. Cause I ain't got a problem drinking. You know. Man, I got a lot of problems. These drinks keeping me from overthinking. So let's just roll one up, roll a shot. Fuck it, let's get fried. Let's roll one up, roll a shot. I'm drunken out my mind. I got a drinking problem. I ain't got a problem drinking. Let's go. Cause I got a drinking problem.
Oh my God, am I doing something illegal by doing this video, or am I protected by the First Right Amendment or the amendment? Don't take my baby. I'm at $13,000 a month. What more do you want from me?
You can catch me on the block uptown, that's where I'm coming from. Homewood rapping, Eastside blessing. Tatted on my arm for my 2 stay flexing. Thanks to my mama day, cause I made a weapon. I've been eventually quiet. City's been certified, they like Ace, let it out. So what niggas retire? I mean, you can't do it like me. Sorry you tried, just a cocky little nigga. I'm sorry, can't even lie. Whoa. Look what this beat done did to me. Fanatic for fat asses. I'm winning who wants steady. To hear me, to lose a breath, something like asthmatic. Still, we don't let it. That's incredibly dogmatic. Running around sound like, how does I do this shit? Fuck you niggas and your mom if you ain't with the crib. I'm close to the throne. Fully on my zone with the whole damn city. Yeah, we on. Yeah, we on. Watch me how I do this. The birds gonna child, thought you knew this. I treat my life like a movie. Can't fuck with your niggas cause I flew. Watch how I put it down. Watch how this beat the water around.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Uncovering the Underground Radio Podcast Show. I'm your host, Skippy Ickham of Brutal Business Entertainment. We're bringing you the show through Spreaker Podcast Radio Service. You can check us out on the Spreaker Podcast app or directly from their website at www.spreaker.com. That's Spreaker. If you are listening right now, hit the share button. Share it around to your friends and family on social media. The more you share us around, the bigger and better things we can do. So we got a great show planned for you this evening, but first and foremost, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors of Brutal Business and our Uncovering the Underground Radio Podcast Show. First and foremost, we have Tattooed Scumbag Apparel. You can check them out on www.tattooedscumbag.com, and they got shirts, hoodies, sweatpants, socks, hats, beanies, everything you could want. If you put in promo code BBE10, it gives you 10% off of the order. So make sure you check them out. They got a lot of awesome gear. I got a bunch myself. Rock it all the time. It's very comfortable. And if you're a tattooed scumbag like me, you'll love it. Also want to give a shout out to Brutal Face Apparel. They're a great company as well that sponsors us. They can be checked out. Go on Google and look up Brutal Face Apparel and they'll come up. Same thing with Tattooed Scumbag Apparel. If you can't find it through the website, just search it on Google. And then last but not least, we got R3 Graphics, my man Rob Trey, really awesome underground rapper. Also does a lot of graphic art, and he makes all of the show flyers for the show and some of the other promotion that you'll see me using. So if you are looking for good graphics and for a great price, hit up my man Rob Trey or R3 Graphics. So without further ado, we do have a great show planned for you this evening. Tonight, we do have Underground Ohio horrorcore artist Name Withheld, I can't talk. And we're very excited to have him on the show. Kind of a rare and fun interview that we got planned for you this evening, so make sure you stick around for it. Tell your friends and everything and share it like I said. We will go ahead and get into a little bit about him here in just a moment. And make sure, if you haven't checked out the brand new Brutal Business Entertainment website, you go to www.teambrutalbusiness.com, www.teambrutalbusiness.com. Has all the updates and news. You hear music on there first before it drops anywhere else from our artists. And you got all kinds of new photos from the models, other photo series that we're putting up, the wrestling events, the music events, and this radio show itself. So make sure you check it out. We do got some comments pouring in, which is always a good thing. That's what I like to see. All right, I don't even know what the hell they're saying. So we got Ghost the Demented coming in saying, where the fuck am I? How did I get here? He doesn't know what's going on right now, so maybe he'll figure that out in a second. And Demo Demon said you should have taken a left at Albuquerque. So, all right then. Well, without further ado, we're going to jump into the interview portion of this show. I'm going to give you a quick bio of who the man of the hour is, and we'll go ahead and get into the interview with him. Now, his name is Name Withheld, and there are many words that could be used to describe him. Vulgar, offensive, disgusting, provocative, dangerous. Above all else, however, he is determined. Determined to make people uncomfortable and provoke the deepest fears they have nestled inside. Beneath the over-the-top lyrics and unpredictable stage show lies a seething commentary on the observation of the evils, hidden agendas, and self-inflicted hell of this world. Name Withheld fearlessly dares people to open their eyes to society around them as it falls apart. Banned from venues, feared by less than scrupulous promoters, and liked by many fellow artists, he pushes not only the boundaries of censorship and depravity, but pushes fellow artists to do their best and to reach for the proverbial brass ring. And without further ado, we are very happy to have on the show tonight my man Name Withheld. How you doing tonight, homie?
I'm doing pretty good. Listening to frogs and crickets as the spring air wafts into my bedroom.
It is definitely starting to feel like spring out there. I'm very excited. It's been kind of teeter-tottering between both. It got very nice there for a little while, then it got very chilly, Now it looks like the nice weather's back, and hopefully it's here to stay. The mixing of seasons, as always, makes a lot of people sick, and I think I'm falling victim to that myself. Haven't been feeling good the last day or so, kind of feel like shit today. And I'm hoping I can kick it before this weekend, because I actually have a show in Ohio this weekend in Toledo for a show called Blast in the Glass. So I'm hoping I can kick this cold before I get there, and that way I can give a good performance.
Right. Yeah, my girlfriend's getting sick. I generally have year-round sinus problems, so I'm just sick year-round.
Oh, that's shitty.
Right, but I'm used to it, so at this point it's not really that horrible. It's just some minor congestion every now and again.
Okay, yeah, I have allergies real bad, but the last couple of years I haven't really had it affect me that much with the change of the seasons, luckily. That causes some sinus issues and sinus infections and things like that. I've been lucky lately that hasn't been the case, but last couple of days my throat and ear have been killing me, so I'm kind of wondering if that could be the case this year. So hopefully not. Hopefully, if you are listening out there and you're in the Ohio area, come out to the Blast in the Glass show at Toledo, or in Toledo, Ohio. Great rap showcase. There's like 15 different rappers on the show. You can catch myself, Ghost the Demented, and Demo Demon. All Brutal Business Entertainment will be there. And as long as I can kick this cold, you'll see a good performance for myself. So hopefully you guys can come out to it if you're listening. So without delaying it too much, let's jump right into it. Why don't you tell us how you got started with music, what led you to become who you are today? Just give us kind of a little background about yourself.
Well, initially I started making music in high school with, back then it was called Fruity Loops, now it's FL Studio.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, obviously, just first using it, everything I made was pretty much horrendous. And then gradually I started getting better at it. I figured out how to actually construct music. Like the idea that there's a certain amount of bars per different sections of a song, etc. And then gradually I started making techno and just general electronica, house, trance, whatever, under the name DJ Mobo. And I produced a good amount of music. I released it on Last FM, but Last FM recently wiped their servers, so that's not available online anymore. I'll have to actually upload everything that I made again. And then after that, like, gradually my music went from being sort of electronica, and it's still obviously electronica, being hip hop, being made on a computer and everything, but it went from being more of a dance music type thing, and it gradually mutated into more of an industrial sounding thing. And then finally it got to the point where it was a lot more industrial than dance music, and it was becoming a lot more hip hop-ish as well. And about this point, people were also telling me, you should add lyrics here, what you're doing. And then I decided to actually start adding lyrics to it. And one day I decided to go into a sex shop and buy a GIMP mask, which is the same one I've been using now for, 8 years? Yeah, 8 years. And then from that, I just sort of developed a persona around a character that I designed, through the songs. Some songs are interlinked. There's some amount of canon to different songs. Some songs just have nothing to do with anything. And yeah, that's basically where I'm at now.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, everybody, and that's I always like to ask, the people that are on my show, how they've come to where they are now, because everyone has a completely different story, and it's cool to hear each individual's take on how they've become, the artist that they've become. And, it's cool to find out how you come across the mask, how you come across the name. What made you decide with the name?
Well, with the name, I didn't want something that was specific. I wanted something that was sort of ambiguous, because I didn't want to be married to any one particular idea or image. Though obviously developing a character, I sort of had to be married to it. But I don't so much use it for the character itself, and more so for the songs. That way it doesn't necessarily have to be the same character. I hope what I'm trying to convey is coming across appropriately.
No, it is, and I mean, you have interlinked songs and a character that's used throughout the music, but not every song is necessarily that character, nor does every song have to be the same story. But in the end, they're all kind of interlinked, even though some of them are truly linked and some of them are not.
Right. The best way I can explain it would be like in comic books, like where you'll have multiple universes, like you'll have multiple Wolverines across planet 1 through whatever.
Okay,
So it's
that
the
makes
same
sense.
Right. So it's the same character, just different
Versions of that character.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I kind of do that myself in a certain light that, Skip Yickham is certain type of being and certain type of character himself, and there's different versions of him. I mean, yes, there's just straight dirty, filthy horrorcore songs that I have, and then there's more hip-hop, there's some uplifting music, and it's all different sides of the same persona. He's still kind of a dark, twisted, misunderstood character, but he goes and gives different tastes of what's going on in his mind. So it's kind of the same thing in a different light, so I completely get it.
Right. And I don't want to say I necessarily do concept albums, but I definitely do. Because one album will have a very general theme, or like the one I'm about to release has a very specific theme, and it's just a story across the whole thing. But like, I have one album in particular, I Am Nothing, which isn't really horrorcore-ish. It's I don't really know what to call it, to be honest.
It doesn't fit in any certain specific mold.
It's a
so
lot.
It doesn't have a genre or name to put on it, but it's its own sound.
It's a lot more self-reflective, and it generally has a little bit more of my viewpoints rather than what would be characterized from Name Withheld as a character.
Okay, now, how have you had the name since you adopted the mask, or which one came first?
I want to say the mask came first.
And then slowly the name kind of followed.
Yeah, because I actually have a real big problem coming up with names for things. Like, I'll have a file for a song like saved on my computer, and the name of it will have absolutely nothing to do with like the lyrics or the song or anything. It'll just be some random phrase or word, and it's a mess.
No, I can get that, because I got songs that are named random things, or beats that are named random things, and then you click on it and it's something completely different. Like, I'm just throwing names out there, but like Bubblegum, and then you click on it and it's like the darkest, sinister, satanic shit ever, and you're like, Bubblegum, and how the fuck is that named Bubblegum? It's just, it comes together like that sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta throw it to something that you're gonna recognize that has nothing to do with it.
Right. I have like 600 files, and some of them are just like maybe 4 or 5 notes. Some of them are just drum loops. It's just all kinds of unfinished stuff that I could probably patch together into actual music if I sorted through it. It's just very laborious with that many files floating around.
Now, for the fans listening in, and maybe they haven't picked this up yet, but you make all of your own production, is that correct?
Yes, for the most part. Let's see. I did a cover of a Marilyn Manson song, which Satanic did the production for the music for that one.
Okay.
And then other than like samples and stuff like that, I generally make everything, yeah.
That's awesome. That's great to do. It's one thing I never, myself, I'm involved, I have a lot of hats. I do photography, I do the music, I do the radio, I do all kinds of other shit. I'm writing a book. I have a lot of things that my hands are involved with, but production was one I could never grasp. Same thing with engineering. I had bought the gear for a studio. I set up a very nice studio in my home, and then quickly afterwards just realized, hey, this isn't for me. I don't like recording myself and being in charge of the different levels and things of that. I'm more of a let me tell you how I want to craft my sound and have you help me, and leave it to someone that's a little bit more experienced than me on that end. I never was someone who had the ear for that on the programming side, the engineering side, the production side. I've dabbled in both and just realized quickly that wasn't for me. So I give kudos to anybody that makes their own beats or just makes beats in general as a producer. Something I always found fascinating, just something I could never personally pick up for some reason.
Well, personally, I actually prefer the creation of the music as opposed to recording of the vocals.
Okay.
I actually don't mind writing the lyrics, but as far as recording, I have difficulty because my voice is somewhat bassy. So I have to deal with proximity effect and then the bassiness of my voice on top of it. So properly EQing my voice is somewhat difficult for me. So that's a bit of an issue. But outside of that in particular, I actually really enjoy producing music.
That's great because, like I said, I wanted to dabble in it. I tried. I had bought equipment. I started fucking with it and just couldn't pick it up. Like, I can pick up a lot of things. I'm a quick learner. I watched so many tutorial videos, had buddies that make beats and fellow producer friends give me hints and tips. And for some reason, I knew quickly, you know what, Garrett, give this up. It's not happening. I'm not going to be able to. I'm not going to be able to do this. Now, if I would have spent, a ton of time on it, I probably could have picked it up. But I realized quickly that it would have been something that I never would have been that great at. I might have been able to be okay. But I took a step back and said, you know what, use that effort and time into something else that you can excel at, not all of that time and effort into something that you'll only ever be mediocre. And sometimes you got to throw the towel, no personal defeats, and I knew that that was a personal defeat for me.
Right. It took me forever to get to the point where I'm at now, and it wasn't for lack of interest or trying or anything. It just, my skills just developed slowly. Plus, I'm also balancing that between working on artwork for things that I'm doing, occasionally doing artwork for other people, a real job, a girlfriend, etc., etc. So having to balance everything, it sort of stagnates the growth of things a bit, but it also gives me a little bit longer to work on things, so I can actually sort of perfect them. So it's also somewhat of an advantage.
Okay. Now, for people listening in, I mean, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do artistically aside from just the music and production side, as far as your animation, as far as your art? Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, actually, I went to a technical school for animation and photography and videography and all that. I only attended a year and didn't go back the following year, which in hindsight was probably a bad idea. But at the same time, they weren't really teaching me anything I didn't already know. And at the same time, the class wasn't really all that good either. Like, it was taught poorly. The teacher had absolutely no experience actually teaching people. In fact, prior to what he had been doing, he had been making local commercials, and he would go out and capture footage for like local news stations, and of car accidents, or like he would be on the scene to get like B footage that he would then turn over to the news for them to use in their productions. So I got hands-on with some editing software there, but mostly I taught myself stuff like that. I honestly prefer to teach myself things. As far as drawing, I've been drawing since I was a small child, so that's just a skill that I was already adept with, and it just developed over time as well. As far as the animation, I did that in a video editing program rather than Flash or something like that, so it was immensely tedious, especially considering I have a computer that's not really got the hardware that should be producing things like that, which is actually why it takes me so long. I'll have to sit there and wait forever for something to render or for something to actually apply a change so I can see what went on with it, so I know if I have to fix it or not. So it's a lot more tedious than I would like it to be, but that's just because of hardware limitations, which I can easily fix that.
That's awesome. I mean, it's kind of funny because we talked about two things that you do that I'm impressed with, that I enjoy, but I've never been able to do. And the second is art. I've never been able to draw. I've never been able to do anything like the animation side. I've never been the technical side as far as programming or being able to create, whether it be pencil, whether it be marker, crayon, whether it be on the computer. I've never been able to pick up and and bring to life those certain aspects, which is great whenever I see someone else doing it. It is always something I enjoy seeing because I've never been that great at it myself.
Right. Color isn't my strongest skill. I'm getting better at it, but I could definitely be better. Shading is sort of wonky. I'm still teaching myself. Like, as far as like having a strong base for what it is I'm drawing, I've got that down, but I'm still working on a lot of things. And color is one of the harder ones I personally find. At least as far as drawing is concerned. I don't really like drawing with like colored pencils or crayons or anything. I do all that on a computer with a mouse, which I hope to one day get a Wacom pad to make that infinitely easier.
Okay. No, it's funny because some artists would say, I can draw with, colored pencil, crayon, marker all day long, but I can't get on the computer and do anything drawing that way. Then you have the opposite. Some people say, I can't draw whatsoever, but on a computer I can kill it. It's just funny how sometimes it works. And then you have other artists that are good at both. It's just, how did you start out? Did you start out strictly on the computer?
I started out drawing with just pen and paper as like a child.
Okay. So it's been something you've been doing for a very long time then.
Oh yeah, my whole life pretty much. The videography and the music came more in high school, but the actual like visual art has always been a thing. Yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, I wish I could. It's something I've certainly tried. It's just not. Like I said, one of those things that you just have to know. Excuse me. You just have to know when's time to throw in the towel.
Right. I don't know. There's sometimes I feel like that. Like, I'll get super discouraged when I'm doing things. Like, if something is just not working at all. Like, and I think what that is instead of getting super discouraged, what I need to do is just sort of walk away from it and leave it be for a little bit. But I also have like this drive to have like perfection. So like once I'm working on something, I'm like hyper focused on it. So like dragging me away from it is super difficult.
I'll try to take a step away too, because I'll work on a song. Excuse me. I'll work on a song and just sit there for like an hour and a half, nothing. Not a line, not a single word that I want to use or I like. And sometimes I can walk away from it, leave it alone, a couple weeks even, turn that song back on, boom, 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 drop 7-8 lines right in a row, and I'm like, oh wow, okay. Sometimes you just have to know, as we just mentioned before, you have to know when to throw in the towel and almost walk away from it for a little bit, because all you're doing by pushing it and pushing it and pushing it is aggravating yourself more, causing yourself more stress, and then you don't ever even get anywhere, and then it just makes you kind of hate what you're working on, which is something you don't really want to do because it ruins the product. So sometimes you have to know when to say, you know what, I'll come back to this song, or I'll come back to this artwork that I'm working on.
Right. Like I don't listen to my own music except for when I'm working on it or like performing. So I intentionally do that so that it doesn't really wear out on me, because obviously mixing it and mastering it and all that, I'm dealing with it a lot. So by that point, I'm sort of burned out on it.
Yeah, by that point, you hate your own shit. You're like, I've listened to it 5,000 times. If I hear this song again, I'm going to kill someone.
Right. Now, I mean, I would hope to one day get to a point where I could easily just listen to a song once, get the general vibe, and just go through it and just kill it in one swoop. But I feel like I'm probably a lot away from that.
Now, when you say that, you mean as far as recording, or?
Well, more so with mixing. Now that I actually have monitors hooked up instead of some crappy speakers and a subwoofer, there's a definite clear difference from what I was hearing before and what I'm hearing now, which definitely made the process much easier. But there's still things that I just have to work on doing. Like when certain instruments will start crowding into a certain EQ spectrum, I got to work on limiting that a bit better. I have to get better at, getting my vocals into a position where they're not super loud or too quiet. there's some things I'm good at, other things it's just a work in progress.
Absolutely. If you were a master of all, there wouldn't be a point to do it. You know what I mean? I love the struggle. I hate it. It sickens me, but I also love it. Like, just trying to write a technical pattern or a lyrical spot to a song that got me stumped that I'm working on over and over again. It becomes frustrating and it makes me sick sometimes. I'm like, fuck this. But then when you eventually get it, it's the most amazing feeling because you're like, all right, I accomplished that. I climbed that mountain. So then you got to climb to the next one. You're always learning things. You're always adapting. And if you get to a point where you don't feel like you are anymore, it's probably time to hang it up.
That's how I feel about second verses on songs. Like I'll get to a second verse and I'll be like, I already wrote a first verse. What do I do now?
That can be difficult because especially if you go with a really tight verse on the first one, you're like, I killed it. I came in strong. I said everything. Like if that song was just that verse, it would be dope. How do I come after?
I write my music now. Right, and considering I write my music, you see, initially when I was writing lyrics, they weren't so structured. Like the way the way my vocals were flowing was all over the place. Like there'd be one rhythm for like a bar, it would just change into something else. And it was very erratic and difficult to follow along to. So now I write my music a little more poppy where everything's super structured. So that makes it a bit easier to write, but it's also super difficult at the same time to come up with something just as good as the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, or have you ever had the opposite happen? You write a song, you come out with a strong first verse, you write the second verse that annihilates everything else in the song, and then you're like, well, shit. Do I need to go back and redo that first verse? Do I tighten it up? What do I do? Because now I feel like there's a spot in the song where when it hits the second verse. It just depends on the beat, I guess, and the overall feel of the song. But I've had that happen before, too, where the second verse I came out with, I'm like, well, damn, I just annihilated everything I wrote previous to this moment.
I'm not entirely sure that I've done that. I can think of a song in particular where it has... I don't know if the third verse is a full verse or a half of one, but I much prefer the third verse to the other two verses in the song.
Okay.
And even the verse itself, the music, the way the vocals are done are way different than the other two verses. Like it just completely changes mood, and it's a whole other thing.
I've had that happen, but sometimes that can be good. I've had songs that I started writing, let go for a little while, and a couple months later came back to it and finished it. There was an obvious difference from, the styles and patterns I was using, the feel that I was giving, but I blended it well and it came out as a solid product. But if you listen to the verses, they're completely different. They flow, but it's a completely different sound. Each verse has like its own style to it, but it gives an overall kind of unique sounding song. So it worked out, but it was just coming back to it at different time periods allowed me to write completely different ways.
That's actually on Way of the Name, the CD I'm about to release. That's actually sort of how that worked. A lot of the songs were older songs that I either had instrumentation and some lyrics for, or instrumentation only, or just some lyrics, and I kind of had to go back and change things or add things, and there's a definite difference, but not a lot. I'm hoping that everything is a lot more seamless than it was put together.
Sometimes it's a pain in the ass putting them together.
Right. Especially the flow of it. I had to create interludes for different things because the way I designed the music, I created it so that things could be interwoven with each other, and some songs just weren't really, like, they were either in keys that just clashed with each other, or just they weren't things that could be appropriately mixed. So I had to sort of bridge things together.
Okay.
And
I can get that.
It works. Because I had planned on using interludes. It's just I ended up having to use them in places that I didn't originally plan.
Thing is, you can't really plan it though. I mean, that's the problem. Is you try that, and I've been a culprit of that myself, where I plan. Okay, I know how this album or I know how this song is going to sound and how I'm going to put it together. And then as you start to write it, it might fall into somewhat of a shape of that, but it usually takes on a form of its own, and you got to let it. You can't restrict it too much because your ideas and your heart of what you're writing, they're two completely different things.
Oh yeah, like since I make the instrumentation too, like if I'm writing lyrics, I'll quite regularly change instrumentation on the fly to suit lyrics, just to change mood or just to sort of accompany them. I'm really fond of like halfway through a verse adding instrumentation or taking instrumentation out, or for like the second verse adding more percussion or taking away percussion. I also like it like, or like the halfway point of a verse or about the end of it, I like to drop out instrumentation and leave vocals. I probably overdo it a lot.
But it can make for a really hard punching spot in the song.
Right.
I've done that several times myself, where if you time it right and you cut the instrumental out, and then drop it back in, depending upon the timing of it and how the beat is and how the lyrics go to it, it can really punch.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Now, question for you: how many projects you have out at this point? How many EPs? How many albums? Why don't you let the fans know what you got out and where they can check it out at?
Currently, I have Revenge, which is an LP. I have I Am Nothing, which is also an LP. I also have In This Bitch, which is sort of like a bonus LP that came with pre-orders of I Am Nothing. Okay. These can be found at, I want to say it's namewithheld.bandcamp.com. I'm looking through one of the CDs right now.
Okay. Yeah, Bandcamp's confusing the way they have the link on it sometimes.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't have all the brackets and the underscores and everything, so you can literally just type in Name Withheld and it'll pull right up.
Whereas some sites you do have to. I noticed myself when I was typing in, I had to use the brackets.
Oh yeah, it's a huge pain in the ass, and I apologize to everyone for that.
Yeah, you gotta go through work to find my shit, but if you wanna listen to it bad enough, you'll do it.
Right.
So guys, it is the bracket sign, the name underscore withheld with 2 H's, so WITHHELD, then bracket again. Make sure you search it, like the pages, share the pages. SKX is in the house. He said he knows you.
Yes.
He said, hey, I know that guy.
He does in fact know me. I have had many horrible drunken adventures with SKX.
Okay. He's a good dude. We had him on the show a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week. I can't remember. They blend sometimes, but it was a good show. We had a great time kicking it with him. I had a great time performing with him in Indiana State for Night of the Shrunken Heads Festival with Razakel and all them. So it was a good time out there. That's where we met one another, and then I brought him to one of my shows out in Katanning, which you have been to, and we had a good time out there as well.
I can dig that.
It's all about love and playing underground music, man. I love it all. I just love talking to artists, being involved with artists, getting artists out there, and just being involved with the whole movement. It's a great thing.
Yeah, I don't involve myself as much as I probably should. I'm a bit of a recluse. There for a long time, I was really only performing at like local festivals. Like, I don't want to say I performed at the last Strictly for the Wicked. I performed at the one before that. And then 607 the 1 year, and then I do the local When Scenes Collide festival the last couple years. I don't really do just random shows, which I probably should. It would probably be real good for pushing myself, but I don't know. Like, it's hard to explain how I want to push myself, because I definitely want to gain fans. But at the same time, I don't know exactly where I fit, because obviously on CD, my music is hip hop and it's obviously aggressive hip hop being horrorcore, but live I'm way more intense than that. It almost becomes like this weird punk rock hip hop industrial thing, and I don't really know where to put that.
I can understand that. I've seen it live. I mean, it's intense. It's in your face. It's different. You know what I mean? And the music behind it's pumping, and you're getting into it and you're rocking it. But it's an intense thrill ride of a sort. You know what I mean? And that's you. That's what you do. So. You know, I
Right.
dig it. You know what I mean? I dig you. You go out and you do your thing. You portray what you want to portray, and you're doing your music, and you know you're making an impact. People were talking about it. You know, so if you're gaining fans and you're selling albums and you got people following it, then it's doing exactly what it's supposed to.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sometimes it does make it a bit difficult to get booked too. That's also a problem I've run into. Cause some of the stuff that I do on stage, like more or less half of my upper torso is just riddled with scars from me stabbing and cutting myself while performing. I've what was it? The one venue, SKX lit his hand on fire and punched me in the face.
All right, I dig it. Okay.
I made a regular habit of just sullying the American flag, which definitely didn't win me any fans.
Yeah, but that's probably not a cool one, man. I wouldn't probably do that one.
Right, I haven't done that one in a good long time. It definitely was alienating a lot of people, so I chalked that one up as a no. Other than that, I've really been sort of behaving myself. The only thing I've really been doing is the cutting every now and again, which really puts people off too. The last time I did it was I want to say the last time I performed at a Scenes Collide. Like, I had done it, and then the gimmick was my girlfriend came up and we had this fake syringe and she stabbed me with it, and I like collapsed off the stage and just laid there for like a half hour. And by the time they dragged me away, there was just this obscene puddle of blood from where I'd been leaking everywhere, which I can't imagine the venue was too particularly pleased about.
Yeah, venues don't care for that. That's kind of like a one and done. So when you do that, it's probably that was your one time playing there, you know?
Well, some venues are a lot more understanding to it because they understand, this happens every now and again. You got like Iggy Pop and Gigi Allen doing horrible shit like that. So some places get that that's a thing, and then other places are like, dude, don't ever do that again. If you come here, don't do that. So
yeah, it makes it tough. I mean, I see it from both angles. I definitely see it that I think it needs to be, I don't want to say you need to tone it down because that's what you want to portray. So I'll never tell another artist how he or she should sound or look, but I can see it from a venue's point of view or from a promoter and booker's point of view that I'm like, well, shit, it's a hard thing to put into someone's club or into their bar because then you might get heat from it. You know what I mean? They might come to you as the promoter and be like, what the fuck did you bring?
Right. I definitely have to get better at picking my battles as far as what I'm going to do on stage, which I feel I'm getting better at. A lot of the time,
it just comes with time. I mean, that's what I would say is, it depends on your crowd. It depends on the show. It depends on location. You got different types of shows. You have big headliner type shows that are in clubs that you definitely wouldn't want to do that for because that'd probably not go over too well. You wanna pick it. You got festivals that are outside. You got the low underground type shows. You got the backwood party type shows.
Right.
So shit like that, like party shows, that'd be great to do because you got a packed house, you got a ton of people around you, and you're doing crazy shit, and they're all partying, and they're all like, "Whoa."
There was this one venue that we got kicked out of called McGilla's, and they had their venue in the basement, and the ceiling was kind of low, and it had these metal support beams. And I always wanted to just crawl through them while I was performing over top of the audience and just kind of drop into them. But no one would ever have a wireless mic, and I didn't particularly trust the cleanliness of that place and whether or not I was going to get mauled by horrible amounts of spiders or something. So it never became a...
Yeah, like I said, you got to pick your battles. You just got to pick when it's worth it, when it's not worth it. I toned my show down. I didn't really ever do so much, the shocking shit on stage. But I used to be little bit more intense with like the production side of it. And over the years, I kind of toned it down, but I don't want to say toned it down like watered it down. I just kind of went away from it and molded myself into a little bit of a different way. And you know, you can really choose to be on either side of it. It's just you have to know when to choose.
Right.
Certain crowds,
I'm
you got to be
definitely
like, you know what, tonight I'm going to let it loose a little bit, and I'm going to be a little dark tonight. And other crowds, you come out and you're like, all right, I'm going to be a little bit more chill and calm tonight. I'm going to give a little type of different presentation to cater to the crowd that I'm working with, but I'll still be me at the same time.
right. There was this is back when I was fresh and fledgling name withheld. Me, the Grimy Ones and SKX were doing a local TV performance type deal. And I don't think SKX was doing it, but the Grimy Ones were, and they went ahead and did it, and then they ended up, it couldn't be shown on the local access TV because they were holding beers the whole time. And then I ended up starting out my set by just headbutting the holy shit out of SKX, which surprisingly didn't affect him as much as the headbutt he gave someone later on after attempting to climb up a balcony.
Okay.
Because I taught him how to do like a wrestling headbutt, and he completely ignored what I told him to do and just headbutt somebody and split his shit open everywhere. So I ended up coming upstairs, and SKX is just leaking blood everywhere, and I'm like, what did you do? You didn't listen to my advice, did you?
That's crazy. Sounds like a
Yeah.
pretty wild time, though.
Yeah, I ended up figuring out that having all kinds of crazy shit happen is fun, but at the same time, it doesn't exactly develop you the best reputation.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It just depends on what you're going for. If you're going for being in that bubble, knowing that bubble was never gonna branch out as big as it could because it's in that niche community and style. If you stay hardcore every show and you do wild shit, it's going to have that reputation. It's going to be harder to get out there and get in different clubs, get in different places or opportunities. But you just keep it because you say, you know what, that's what I'm doing. That's great. But then if you burst out of that bubble, though, it does allow opportunities for different things. So you just have to pick kind of which side do I want to be on. There's nothing wrong with either of them. That's the cool thing. Is it's no matter what's chosen, it's not the wrong choice. It's just that's what is preferred to be.
Right. Well, I definitely have to gradually tone down the amount of abuse I'm putting my body through on stage, because I was regularly stabbing and cutting myself and throwing myself onto the floor from the stage and just not being so friendly to myself. And it's definitely cumulative, especially if you don't. Oh yeah. Especially if you're not landing in a manner that protects you or in a manner that properly dispenses your weight, so you're not landing on just your arm or your neck or something. Yeah, I just ignored all that and just flopped onto the ground like a fish.
Okay.
Just not so helpful to my body.
I would imagine. So we got, you know Raven, I'm guessing, Amy?
Yes.
She's chatting on the chat system right now, and she was saying that she's obviously a big fan. We've talked to each other and done business with each other in the past. She said she loves us guys, said she's going to come to one of the next shows. She dropped like 15 comments, so I can't keep up with all of them right now. But she said something about the lower level Halloween show. That's taking it way back, but that was the first time that I saw him and I was hooked. Bible burning show? ?
Well, I did that gimmick more than once.
He's like, there was a few times that has happened.
I'm trying to think that far.
Good times.
Because I usually will typically do a Halloween show, and I'm trying to think that far back. That was a while back. Oh, man.
They start to blend after a while.
Kind of. I'm glad that I got in the habit of filming my shows so that I can recall things, because I already have a real bad memory, and when I'm drinking and smoking all kinds of pot and shit, it definitely makes it a little bit more difficult to remember things.
Yeah, it definitely does. I toned that back though too. I mean, I used to go to shows when I was younger and I'd party and I'd get hammered and I'd play. It was fun, but I never gave the performance that I could have gave, and I didn't remember all of them, and it was just like a blur. So then I started kind of being more wise on that. And it's very seldom now I ever go out of any type of buzz. I'll go out with maybe drinking 1 or 2 beers before I go on, but other than that, I keep a clear head just so I can remember it all and kind of take it all in.
As far as alcohol is concerned, that's about the point I'm at. Like, I'll still smoke while I'm at the show with people, but as far as alcohol, there for a while, it was a pretty big problem. Like, the one, especially with my clothes. Like, I have a tendency to get like super shit hammered, and then my clothes just disappear while I'm on stage. Like, one show, I took my pants off, and my underwear were, I'm assuming, either well worn or I had ripped them. So the whole time my business was just kind of flopping out everywhere. So I had to keep that in check. And then another show at the hookah where we were regularly performing, I pulled my pants down and just showed everyone my ass, which was, I'd imagine that alienated some people. The lady running the place enjoyed it, but you know.
Yeah, the crowd didn't like it very much, but the lady that got us there, she was pretty cool about it.
Right. But yeah, and plus, like, drinking, like, that one in particular at the hookah, like, all of my words were just slurred mumbles and screaming. And I know that it was fucked up, but people told me it was good. And I guess as long as people like it, that's fine. But personally, I'm like, I could have done way better.
Yeah, no, I've had performances like that in the past where I'm like, you know what, people liked it tonight. I'm like, but what the fuck was that?
That was a car accident. You must like horrible things.
And the thing is, usually it doesn't happen often. It's only been a couple times that I can remember, but there's been a couple times that after I walked off, I'm like, I practiced, I rehearsed, I try to stay tight at all times. I've always been someone that took pride in that, but there's been a few shows that I butchered. People still seem to have liked it, but I'm like, wow, what just happened to me? And one of them was a Halloween show. I think it was 2 years ago now at this point. And my man Demo Demon had me out during his set. He even told me he was going to have me out during his set about 2 days before, and I listened to the songs. There was collaborations that I'd done with him in the past. I had him tight. He pulled me out on stage. We started going into it. I was cool. And then all of a sudden, I butchered his collabs on his set, and I felt horrible about it.
Oh.
I went over and stood after the songs, and I'm like, damn. I'm standing over there. I'm like, what the fuck just happened to me? I'm like, I don't even know what just happened. Like, I know the songs, but I just butchered them. Then my set comes on a little bit later on in the night. I go out, fucked like 3 of my songs up, and it was things that a lot of people didn't even catch or notice, but I didn't. I don't ever fuck up like that. So I'm like, what is happening tonight? I wasn't messed up. I wasn't drunk. I don't know what happened. So,
I mean,
I'll be the first artist to say, you know, a lot of people would never admit to that. Now, I fucked up before. It happens to all of us, and especially when you're younger and you get to that alcohol stage and you just go in. You just start slamming it at shows, and you're out blackout drunk on stage being a fucking asshole and thinking you're killing it, and everybody's standing out there like, what the fuck is this?
Oh, yeah. I have a problem where sometimes, like, I'll be mid-verse and I'll forget like a whole line, and I'll have to come up with something on the spot, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, fortunately, it's close to a chorus, so I can kind of just fumble into the chorus. I don't know. I definitely have an occasional problem where I'll just fuck things up. And it happens. Like,
it happens to the best of us.
Right. I don't know. For the longest time, I thought I'd perform better while drunk, like obscenely drunk, because I'm like, okay, well, I'm drunk. I care less. I'm, just putting on more of a show than performing lyrics. And I guess that's fine for what that is, but I kind of want to be able to do both. So, yeah.
You have to find that harmony between the two.
Right.
It's not always easy to find.
No, definitely. It took me a lot of trial and error. And definitely one of the wake-up calls as far as drinking was the one strictly for the Wicked, I had performed a little bit earlier than what I was used to, or not what I was used to, a little bit later than what I was used to, because I'm used to performing first most of the time wherever I'm performing. So I was a little bit more in the middle. So I had drank a bit before my set, and then I'm like, okay, my set's done. I can get just shit hammered now. And then I just proceeded to drink more and more in the bar, out in the parking lot. And then it just got to the point where it's like the end of the night. And at the time, the one half of the grimy one, Cinco, he's like, here, take a shot of Jack with me. And I take a shot of Jack with him. And I'm like, okay, I'm feeling fine. And then I look over at Raz, and she has me take a shot, and I take that shot. And then I wander over to the other side of the bar, and just time disappeared for a little bit while I was busy drowning in my own vomit under the bar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I think we've all been there.
Yeah, that was definitely a point where I'm like, no, I'm going to definitely not do this anymore.
Yeah, you got to be the person that decides, do you not let yourself get to that stage anymore, or are you the person that gets to that stage all the time? And there's always is that difference. I mean, I've been there many times, but I haven't been there in a long, long time, and I don't plan on going back because it's no fun. There's no point in it. But I have people that in my life, and that I know that are like old acquaintances or old buddies that they're still doing that on the regular, getting blackout drunk, fucking waking up crazy places, waking up and puke and shit. Like, that's crazy. That's not for me. That's not,
right. Like, if I didn't have responsibilities, maybe the waking up in crazy places part might be fun, but definitely not the vomiting. Because, even before that, I can recall a couple times, because I don't get hangovers, and I don't really get sick when I drink. But, there was this one time when I had just turned 21, and I remember me and a friend at the time had mixed 151 and tequila, and I had this real big glass of this nonsense, and that had me just
right there.
Yeah, it just had me fucked up to the point where I was just drinking the 151 out of the bottle because I'm just so drunk I can't feel it destroying my organs anymore. And the following day when I woke up from that, I was just vomiting up black shit, which I can only imagine was bile, maybe blood.
That's rough.
Yeah, I definitely probably shouldn't have continued drinking after that. But at that point, I really, in spite of doing that, I wasn't really a drinker. And I wasn't a drinker when I was getting horribly shit-faced at shows either. It's just, it's something I really only did at shows. So it's, I don't know. I don't know if I feel compelled to do it because it's an excuse because I'm performing and it's somewhat acceptable given the environment, being a bar or whatever. Or
I think it's the rush of it all. When you go there, you're anxious. You're ready to perform. You're ready to do your thing. You're in a social setting. You're around a lot of people. They're drinking. You should be drinking. You want to drink. So you have one, and then you just pound it, and then you're like, that was good. I like that to help take up time and help keep me busy and my mind off of it. I'm ready to play. You have another one. And before you know it, you're like, shit, I just slammed 5 fucking beers. And they're like, it's time to go on. And you're like, oh, yeah. Then you go up there. Then the adrenaline kicks in. The crowd's watching. So now you're like, fuck yeah. I'm ready for this. But then you're like, I shouldn't be doing this right now because I can't see straight. And then it's too late. And then you just do it. You just kind of lose yourself in that moment. And that's great. I mean, we've all been there. And it's something that, I think probably every artist should go through to an extent. But you have to find yourself through that, too.
Right. And I'm not the most sociable of people, so it definitely lubricates my sociability.
That's the hashtag for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lubricated sociability.
So yeah, it definitely helps me be a lot more personable and sociable. As far as seeing straight, I don't typically get drunk to that point, even when I'm super, super drunk. I still have a good sense of vision, though.
Equilibrium is solid.
Yeah. There's been a couple times, the one time at the hookah, me and SKX were going around the building and we went through some bushes and I didn't realize that the step was a bit further down and I just completely missed it and smashed into the ground. And I was pretty drunk, so it didn't really faze me. In fact, I laughed at that.
That makes for good times, though.
Right. There was that mask. Speaking of vision, that is more of an impairment than drinking has ever been to me. That mask is horrible.
The lack of breathing.
Well, not even breathing. It's got a pretty open mouth, so I don't have to worry about getting air too much. But the eyes are like this perforated. I want to say it's aluminum, but I went to Toys R Us and they had these WWE face masks like Sheamus and like John Cena, and they were like, you just wear them over your face, and they got all these holes drilled in them, so you can see through it, but the people can't see your face on the other side because it's so close to the holes. And I'm like, well, this would make pretty good use as eyes. They can't see me on that side, I can see them. So I went ahead and I sewed this to my mask, and being that it's super flexible metal, the edges are just all curling back towards me. So whenever I put this mask on, once I get it in place, as I'm wearing it and like sweating into it kind of like
it's like cheese grating your face.
Yeah, because it sort of swells into me, and the metal will just dig into my eye socket. So like by the time I pull it off, it's like pulling part of me with it, and it's
that's intense, brother. I mean, you're really giving it your all out there. You're like, listen, guys, while I perform for you, I'm scraping my eyelids off.
I don't know. Considering the stuff I'm performing, I feel like it's some level of, I don't know, I don't want to say penance, but I feel like I should definitely be receiving some amount of punishment for the awful stuff coming out of my mouth.
It might still be to come, man.
Yeah.
Give it time. No, but for real, though, I think you're fine, man. We all got our ways of releasing our art, and, not all of it's acceptable. I know that mine's surely been scrutinized over the years many times, and it is what it is. Fuck people. If you don't like what I have to say or what I perform, it's cool. I'm cool with that. I don't mind it, but don't tell me about it. Don't come over and tell me I have a problem with it. Just don't fucking listen to it.
Right, and like especially with like the type of music I make in particular, like it's super, super graphically obscene and vulgar. Especially the stuff I am about to release is super graphic, and like listening to it, like it comes across as something off of like Criminal Minds or like Law and Order or something like that, or like a Saw movie or Hostel or something. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I don't really see anyone complaining so much about that. Why do people find this distasteful? I don't really get it.
No, I've actually questioned that same thing. It's funny that you bring that up. I mean, it is strange because I've put out a photo series a while back that when I put it out, it got my Instagram and Facebook reported for the business, and actually they took down both of our sites. We lost thousands of fans, and had to rebuild pretty much everything on the social media platforms. It took down our two biggest sites because of one photo shoot that I did that was intense, but it really wasn't that intense. It was more, what would the word be? It was more foreshadowing things that you would come up with the scene that I showed.
Okay.
And everybody fucking snapped and flipped out. But people watch horror movies that are much worse. Not a problem. It was like you have to. It's funny how certain art forms are okay to portray sex and violence and things like that, and others are frowned upon. That, oh no, like that's horrible. Why would you do that? What is the difference? Where's the separation point?
Well, I think what part of it may be, and this is just my opinion, I might be entirely wrong, is people go into like a TV show or a movie knowing this is fake, it's pretend, these people aren't really like this. But when people listen to music, it's almost like people feel that the person, particularly like the vocalist I've found, is supposed to be genuine. Like what they're saying is supposed to be genuine. Like it's taken a lot more seriously rather than is had disbelief suspended. And I think people, since they want to relate to music they don't know to make that distinction that this isn't relatable. This is fiction. This person isn't really like this. I don't think they are initially making that distinction like they would with a movie.
And no, it's funny that you say that because I've thought about that before and actually made that same distinction myself, that people will watch movies and it doesn't bother them because they're like, it's an actor, it's a movie, it's a show, it's this or that. But when they listen to music, for some reason, music's like it's Bond, it's in stone. So when you hear it and the guy's talking about being a psycho and he's telling a story and things like that, like you said, people believe, the stories that the poets, that the singers, the rappers and artists portray vocally. It becomes something that like they live. They think that what that person's saying has to be that.
Right. And I mean, I'm sure there definitely are some people who write music that's definitely a lot closer to who they are than what I do. And I would honestly hope that no one is writing the type of music I am and being so stupid as to gloat about it through music. But I mean, I'm sure that happens every now and again. So, I mean,
I hear you. There's
like,
nothing wrong with being sick. I mean, we're all a little sick, so I mean, we have to let it out in our music. I think that's an escape for most of us as well, as is the dark side that we do have. We can kind of let it out in the music, and it helps with it to a certain extent.
Right. I mean, I could definitely understand relating with like the feeling of anger or rage, but if you're relating with kidnapping and abducting and, torturing people, there's probably something going on that we need to worry about.
Yeah, no, I know. I know. I've talked about my fair share, that's for sure.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess in the context of a fetish, it's fine. But like, if you're like legitimately terrorizing neighborhoods and shit, not so much.
Yeah, not so much there. I mean, you should probably step back a little bit. I just take a seat and just let it cool down, Now, we got some answers here for you, jumping back to a couple things. Amy said that was 2015 was the Bible show. She has pics. We got a Brian Cinco said hashtag fuck McGillis.
Yes,
we got Ghosted Demented said, can't lie, I am a big fan of Name Withheld, and I ain't afraid to tell the world. And I tell him every time I talk to him. The wife is a fan as well. Then we got Brian Cinco said, was that the night that we passed out in the parking lot?
Strictly for the Wicked, yes. We ended up after they roused me from my puddle of vomit and guided me to the exit of the building. The grimy ones and our driver at the time, Pogo, Pogo was smart enough to sleep in the van. The grimy ones were passed out in the parking lot, and I just sort of joined them until Pogo was like, hey, we can't really sleep here. The police are circling the block. We need to go sleep somewhere else. And by this point, we had actually been kicked out of our hotel because Cinco and someone we invited over got into a bit of an altercation, and the hotel didn't really like that. So we ended up having to sleep in the van at a Walmart, which wasn't too bad. My alcohol poisoning made sleeping a little difficult, but you'll have that.
Yeah, that would make sleeping a little bit difficult. That's for sure. It's not fun being there.
No,
not at all. We got a couple other people messaging here. We have Henry Holmes said, Name Withheld will always be one of my favorite artists and can't wait to see the next show. He put the lens from some sunglasses might help. I'm not sure what he's talking about there. Must have been during something we were saying. I'm reading back at this point, so we'll never know at this point. And then Amy says, duct tape around the metal. Whatever the hell that means. That's the bad thing. Sometimes catching back up on the comments, I have no idea what they're talking about.
Right, there's absolutely no context, so it's word salad.
Duct tape around the metal, like, okay, hell yeah.
Oh, about the eyes. There we go. That's what she's talking about.
Okay.
Which I actually tried putting like gluing them down, and it soaked into the fabric, and it didn't work. And like it's sewn in, and I'll occasionally re-sew it to just kind of give it support. And because the metal is so flexible, it'll break. So I'll have to like sew it together where it's broken too. So eventually I will have to replace it entirely, which I'm planning on doing with like the eyes from like a luchador mask, how some of them will have those eyes where like you can't see what's behind it, but they can obviously see you.
Yeah.
I was figuring replace it with something a little more friendly like that. That way I'm not gouging my eyes out every time I put the thing on or take it off.
Yeah, because comfortability becomes nice after a while, man. Whenever you're up there and you're comfortable, and you're like, oh yeah, I go on stage and I rock the stage and I'm comfortable with rocking the stage. It's a good thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially when I go to take it off, I have to make sure I have my eyes closed so I don't scrape my eyeballs with that metal.
Yeah,
because there's been
can't imagine that being pleasant.
No, there's been a couple close calls where I've caught like the edge of an eyelid or like my eyebrow, and I'm like, oh, nope, too close.
Yeah, fuck that altogether.
Yeah.
Real quick for you, which one would you prefer? Any port in a storm or break you?
I guess that would depend on my mood. Break You is a little more serious and horror oriented. Any port in a storm is super silly and wrote poorly and just it's goofy as fuck. Let's go with goofy as fuck. Let's give him Any Port in a Storm.
All right, well, listen, guys, we're going to go to a quick break on Uncovering the Underground here with Skippy Ickham of Brutal Business Entertainment and Name Withheld. This is his song, Any Port in a Storm, and we'll be right back after this song.
Oh no, man! I see a lot of ugly women, man. Just woman that's ugly to the bone. She's a fucking nasty fucking bitch, man. Gotta love her.
Equal opportunity is what I'm all about. What's the sound? Never mind, I got my dick inside your mouth. My libido's gone crazy when I'm hazy. So hazy. Come to bending over all these old ladies. Ruthless as fuck, I leave their pelvic bone broke. You're broke. Cause I think it's fun and games, but no joke. All these urges got my dick so hard. Fuck the living, dig up playmates in the local graveyard. I'm a sex fiend, something obscene. Stick my dick in anything, I'm living the dream. It doesn't matter what it is, cause I'm going in dry. Do or die, save the tears, I don't wanna hear you cry. Beauty skin deep, but I'm 8 inches past. In that ass, tear it up till it's fully prolapsed. Then I'm on to the next, appetite unsurpassed. I'm jerking on cars from a busy overpass. Men, women, children, I just don't give a fuck. A hole is a hole, and your hole just got stuck. No, it's just another way to tell me yes. When I'm on my prowess best, to lock the door and pray you're not next. Men, women, children, I just don't give a fuck. A hole is a hole, and your hole just got stuck. No, it's just another way to tell me yes. When I'm on the prowess best, to lock the door and pray you're not next.
Oh, this chick was such a slut. She fucked two of the nastiest, the total nastiest. The one guy can't even walk and got 6 toes, man. Nasty fucking
neighborhood creeper, and I'm out on the prowl. Call me foul when I push my fingers deep inside your bowels. In these waters, it's any port in a storm. Callus covered, my dick is weathered and worn. Pop off their shoes, rub my cock on their toes. In between it goes, and I arc my load in their nose. Choke and poke into rape you, now fall. Fuck them all, high and cracking, now I'm rubbing my balls. 5 o'clock, cock, hit it in your room. The wretched stench of death counts down the doom of your womb. Muzzle load a baby back into its mom with my dick. Till it clicks, no one buys it, so I gotta get pics. Drunk at the park, with my pants soaked in piss. I try to cop a feel, but stumble to the ground and miss. Another day, another hole, an alcoholic abyss. Fuck my fist till I lose all feeling in my wrist. Men, women, children, I just don't give a fuck. A hole is a hole, and your hole just got stuck. No, it's just another way to tell me yes. When I'm on my prowess best, to lock the door and pray you're not next. Men, women, children, I just don't give a fuck. A hole is a hole, and your hole just got stuck. No, it's just another way to tell me yes. When I'm on the prowess best, to lock the door and pray you're not next.
It's like you got punched in the face by God.
And we're back on Uncovering the Underground podcast radio show. As I said before, I'm your host, Skippy Ickham of Brutal Business Entertainment, and tonight's guest, we have Name Withheld from Ohio. He is an underground horrorcore, hardcore rap artist, and we've been kicking with him the last hour, talking about his past projects, his future projects, who he is behind the mask, literally, and different things that make him as a person and as an artist. So we're very glad to have him on the show. You just listened to his song, Any Port in a Storm. And before we end the show tonight, we're going to try to jump back into another song of his, which is called Break You, and we'll get into that here in a few minutes. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you tonight is kind of off the wall, but I think it's just curious for me at least. What is your favorite, or what was your favorite subject in high school?
That's a good question. By the time I made it to high school, I actually quit caring entirely about school. Before then, I would.
One that you liked? Was there one class you're like, I don't mind that class so much? There might not have been. You don't have to feel like there is if there's not.
Any kind of science class was usually pretty laid back. I enjoyed science classes. I'm not a huge fan of math. I'm not particularly good at it, so math classes were definitely not. Yeah, I would say science, even though math kind of goes with science sometimes.
That's all right. You don't have to like them both.
Right.
We're going to go with science on that one. Now, we're going to fire some more questions out at you. What is the one thing, and I've asked all my artists this recently, what is the one thing that you've done that you don't regret doing, but you would never do it again?
Definitely slicing my chest open. It provided for an excellent visual, both as I was doing it and the scars it left behind. However, it was an immensely stupid thing, and I was completely inexperienced in doing that type of thing to myself, which, looking at them, I can clearly tell that I hit veins and all kinds of shit that I really shouldn't have ever brought anything sharp near. So that one's about 50-50. I think it was definitely one of the best visuals I put out, but at the same time, it's definitely something I would never, ever do again. Not on the chest. There's just too many veins. There's not enough room for me to do it safely. It's a no-go.
Yeah, that might not be the best thing to do, for sure.
Oh yeah, there's like one straight down the middle of my chest that looks like I was vivisected, and it's gnarly.
I don't know, brother. It's intense, that's for sure. You definitely put on a hell of a show, but at what price? At what price, my man?
I guess my ability to continue walking past the age of 50.
Well, let's hope that's not the case. I got another question for you. What is the animal that you think, if animals were to rise up and take over, what would be the one animal that would reign supreme amongst all, and why?
If we're gonna go off of just intelligence, as far as animals that are already land-bound, I would just have to say some form of an ape or a monkey or whatever. If we're just going to go by just sheer survivability, probably some amount of an insect, because they're already extremely numerous as is, and they're just super adaptable. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, after we've long destroyed ourselves, those will probably be about the only thing left. And maybe stuff that lives in water.
Yeah, it's always interesting to hear people's take on that, because there's so many possibilities. Water, it does provide a completely different element that if animals were to take over, most things can't go into water. Now you could say that they can't come out, but they don't need to.
Right. Now maybe marine mammals like a dolphin or a whale or something might have some difficulty having to come up for air, and it's just not breathable. But also, being they're already in the water, animals seem like they're able to adapt a lot better than us. So they could just redevelop back into fish from what they are now.
True de-evolution.
Right? I mean, there was a I want to say it was a type of bird, and it went extinct, and then it just re-evolved spontaneously out of nowhere again.
Well, there's a lot of strange things that happen, and as we were talking about on the break of the song, and then for those listening out there, I am starting a new podcast that we will be announcing more announcements coming up about, but we are going to be talking over ghosts, aliens, paranormal activity, all kinds of fun, strange items in depth, and it's going to be a very cool show. It's called Celestial Oddities, and we will be starting that in about a month or so. It's going to be me and my friend Daniel James, who shoots all my music videos. He is a very well-known actor and director, and we're going to have some fun with this podcast show. So if you didn't catch our episode together a few weeks back, we had a really great interview and talk with one another, which kind of sparked the interest of us doing this. We've talked about some things like this in the past, and now we're making it happen. So stick around for that. And looks like Raven said worms is what she's going with.
Wait, worms?
I guess
oh my
for
God.
the animals.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could see worms surviving. As long as we don't, like, destroy the soil, as long as there's nutrients there for them, I don't see why they wouldn't survive.
True. It's debatable. I guess we'll never know.
Right.
Now, if your animal could tell us about you, what do you think that it would tell us? How would it describe you?
Like a pet?
Yes.
I actually don't have a pet.
Then your pet can't describe you.
I had a dog when I was a younger child. I had hamsters when I was like super little, but I was like a toddler, so I mean, I can only imagine that the only kind of opinion an animal would have about a toddler is, please quit swatting at me, leave me alone, just go
That's
away.
True. The kids don't have that filter when it comes to pets. They're just like, I'm gonna grab you, I'm gonna pick you up, I'm gonna squeeze you.
Right. I saw this video the other day, and this toddler was swatting at a cat, and the cat just eventually had enough of it and swatted back, and the toddler didn't like that.
Oh, I'm sure. Cats will fuck something up, man. They ain't no joke.
Apparently, I guess there's a gene in particular that determines whether or not an animal has been domesticated. And from what I understand, that gene has never been turned on or off or whatever for cats. So they're still undomesticated animals. They just get along with us.
Yeah, I mean, they are a very strange creature. I have two of them. They are unique, man, to say the least. They are very, very unique animals.
Right. Well, I mean, just watching them, like, you can tell that they're a predatory animal just by, at least I feel like they are just by looking at them. So I see it and I'm like, if this thing were bigger, it would definitely attempt to kill me.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if it was lion size, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's something, because people try to keep them as pets sometimes, and that goes very wrong. Or you can be, like the dudes that were out in Vegas. They got attacked by their own tigers, you know what I mean? Sometimes that goes wrong.
Right. Well, Mike Tyson.
Roy.
Mike Tyson used to live, I think it was like 45 minutes away from where I live now. And he had lions and tigers, and they would just regularly escape. And here in Ohio, there's a law where you have up to an hour to declare your tiger escaped before you get charged with whatever it is they charge you with for that type of thing.
What in the fuck had to happen for that to be put into the books?
Right.
All right, we're going to have to make a law, Joe. Mike's fucking tigers keep getting out. We're going to make a law now that if a tiger's out and it isn't reported within an hour, we're going to arrest you.
I mean, I would arrest them regardless. You don't really want a tiger roaming around the countryside.
I just don't think. There needs to be a point. Like, I don't have a problem with people having cats and dogs as pets, or maybe even hamsters and things like that. But then it starts to get into some strange things that, like, I don't really agree with people having as a pet, like monkeys and the gorillas, tigers, leopards, lynxes and stuff like that. Like, they should not be kept as a pet.
Right, like I have to keep fighting this compulsion to buy an alligator. Like I'm like, this thing is going to get 12 feet long. I don't have the ability to feed this thing pounds of meat per day. Like, it's just a bad idea.
Well, and that's the problem is people do, and you used to be able to do that pretty easily. Now you don't see that too often in most pet stores or anything like that anymore. But whenever I was a kid, I remember pet stores selling baby alligators.
Right. Well, I can buy them online right now, and it's perfectly legal. And like the same website sells anacondas as well, but it's illegal to ship them to Florida specifically, and I believe another state. I might be wrong about that part.
Yeah, because that could be all bad. An anaconda get out in Florida, that thing would fucking really thrive there.
Right. Well, the snakes that are there already apparently have already killed practically everything.
Yeah,
So
Florida's a crazy place. Like the Everglades and everything, it's pretty intense down there.
right. I have my merch guy is actually from Florida, and he actually enjoys it. Like he's like, I walk around in hurricanes, and I'm like, oh, that sounds bad. And he's like, it's not that bad. And I'm like, well, you're from there.
It's not that bad. We don't mind a little hurricane hitting us every now and again.
I from what I've heard, some of the people that live there just it's whatever to them. They don't worry. They don't leave. They're just like, it's whatever. It's a storm.
See, and that's why, I mean, to each their own, but that's why I like living in Pennsylvania because it's like you're not really, knock on wood, there's not really earthquakes over here. There isn't really big wildfires over here. There isn't a huge amount of crime here. There's not typhoons and tsunamis and hurricanes. It's just like it avoids all of it.
Is the only thing we really have to worry about in Ohio is tornadoes, which we didn't have to worry about as much before, but now that it's storming a lot more, like what was it, a month or two ago, I think there was 11 tornadoes in one day. Like maybe not tornadoes that actually destroyed anything, but like they actually formed and touched ground. And it's like that's not good.
It's not good at all. Not good at all. Yeah, they can definitely wreak a lot of havoc. I've seen my town got hit with a microburst at one point in time. Not even a tornado, but the microburst had flipped cars, flipped a boat out of the water on top to another boat, ripped like 6 pine trees down the street from my house, right out of the ground. They were huge pine trees. I mean, it was no joke, and it all happened in a matter of like 5 minutes, and then it was gone. It was beautiful out again.
Wow, that's
This
crazy.
pocket just hit the town. It was like this dark storm cloud. It hit, boom, that happened, and then it cleared out, and it was like it never happened.
Well, there's my house, then there's a rundown gas station, and then once you get past the gas station, like and the brush there, like there's this big clearing where there's these cell phone antennas. And I guess that clearing, they didn't clear that out for the antennas. I guess what had happened is well, I guess at this point it would be like 30 some years ago, maybe 20 some years ago, a tornado came through here and just tore that path through there. And it obviously sufficed well enough for cell phone towers. But yeah, like I look at that and knowing that that's what a tornado did, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of power. They can really surprise you. You know, depending upon how big it gets, how much force is behind it, it can do a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, it's a good 50 or 60 foot wide path that just goes from, because I live on a highway and I'm pretty sure it goes from that highway all the way back to the other main road on the other side of the woods.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty impressive. Impressive in a messed up way, but pretty impressive.
Right. Like it's awe inspiring, and it really kind of reminds you that, hey, the world, you're kind of small when you compare yourself to everything else.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's we're just a gnat. You know what I mean? That's pretty much the way you look at a gnat when you see a gnat. You're like, look at this little thing. That's what we are in the grand scheme of things. We're just this little bug on this rock.
Right.
Very fragile.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Now, why don't you tell us a little bit real quick? We're going to jump in, and when we come back, we'll do our shout outs and end the show. Why don't you tell us about Break You, and then we'll jump into it.
Break You is the first song off of my forthcoming album, Way of the Name. It sets off the entire demeanor and tone of the album as I break into some poor woman's house and abduct her for all sorts of horrible namey things later on. Clearly it's horrorcore. And it's yeah, it's a thing.
Pretty intense, and if you've been listening to Uncovering the Underground for the last several shows, you would have probably heard this show many times. This is Break You from Name Withheld. We'll be right back after this song.
Crawling through your window, crawling through your window, I'm crawling through your window, crawling through your window, I'm crawling through your window, crawling through your window, I'm crawling through your window, crawling through your window, I'm crawling through your window, crawling through your window, I'm crawling through your window, crawling through your window, I'm crawling through your window, crawling through your window, I'm crawling through your window, crawling through your window, I'm crawling through your window as you're sleeping tight. I'm the bogeyman, come to life, a mask of bloody shape in the night. Place my hand on your mouth, the other strikes your face. I won't leave a mark, but you best believe my rage will leave a trace. Coming undone, your clothes are gone, what you gonna do now, I ask? Begging for help, your words are noise that lose their value fast. Better keep it down, I'm not the one, I don't give a fuck what your boyfriend has. Beg at my feet, you filthy bitch, and open up that ass. Rape you to treasure, right at you. Leave you broken down like the feeble little insect that you are. Stop me, I break this of you. Just to taunt you now, I let you feel me violate you with these scars. Cry me a river and take it. Like a good girl, your compliance is a must to make it far. Stop me, defeat me, control me. What's the matter, doll? You didn't know that this moment was ours. Just close your eyes. Just close your eyes. Just close those eyes and believe that you're safe, my dear. Trust in my words, but beware, I am the one you fear. This pain I bring shall release all the things you hide. Play my game and obey the way of the name or die. Locking all the doorways when you try to flee. Not a good idea, I'm death in the flesh and I feast on misery. Tie your hands to your legs and now you'll never leave. I'm loving the noise you make when you fight with me and struggle to breathe. Hit you again, the bruises rise, your beautiful skin is split. Fear in your eyes, I hold them open and fill them with my spit. Feel my breath on your neck as I force myself to beside your dried up slit. So crying for help won't save you now and only get you hit. Break you and make you narrate. Smother out your hope and leave you empty and dying inside. No one is coming for you. Just to taunt you now, I let you loose and cut free all the ties you bind. Defiled and beaten today. Leave from trauma blessed upon your flesh until your mind is open wide. Follow the bag. The last thing that you hear before you meet the bag and get the number you're assigned. Just close those eyes and believe that you're safe, my dear. Trust in my words, but beware, I am the one you fear. This pain I bring shall release all the things you hide. Play my game and obey the way of the name or die.
And welcome back to Uncovering the Underground podcast radio show. This is Skippy Ickham of Brutal Business Entertainment, and that was Break You from Name Withheld. Hopefully you guys liked it. You can check that out on his upcoming album. He's going to tell you a little bit about that real quick and where you can check him out at, give his final shout-outs. If you missed the show, make sure you jump back and listen to the whole thing. Share it around and let your friends hear it as well. And stick around for many good shows to come. Real quick, a couple announcements I wanted to make before we let him get his shout-outs in is going to be the upcoming shows we got. On the 30th of May, we have Demo Demon talking about his brand new album. Going to be dropping the following night. Make sure you stay tuned for that. On June 13th, we have Nasty Inc. June 20th, Jay the Nightmare. June 27th, Dawn Arias. July 11th, Ghost the Demented. And July 25th, Misread from Brutal Business Entertainment. So stick around. We have a lot of great shows coming up. If you are an artist out there and you're serious about your craft and you want to look to get onto the show, feel free to hit us up at Brutal Business Entertainment. But it's ENT. It's not fully spelled out. So brutalbusinessent@gmail.com with any type of inquiries. Or if you want to have your music maybe featured on the show, you can email us that over, and we'll definitely try to see if we can get it in the rotation. We want to thank everybody for listening tonight and leaving comments. We want to thank Name Withheld for being on the show. To our sponsors, Brutal Face Apparel, Tattooed Scumbag Apparel, and G3 Graphics. Before we finish this out tonight, why don't you go ahead and tell the crowd out there where they can check out your music and what that new album is coming up and when you expect to drop it.
Well, you can check out my music on Reverb Nation at Reverb Nation / Name Withheld Official. You can find me on Bandcamp also at Name Withheld Official. YouTube, if you prefer visuals with your audio, at YouTube /user /The Bloodbath. That's DA, then Bloodbath. And then the new album, Way of the Name, will be coming out on January 1st. Pre-orders will start on December 1st, and I'll have information on the packages a lot closer till then, along with hopefully a really horrible 90s stylized infomercial to go along with it. But that one's a little 50-50.
That's awesome. Hopefully we get to see that.
Hopefully, because I've been kicking the idea around for a long time now, and I really want to get it out into the world.
I think you should.
Outside of that, I appreciate you having me on. Definitely would love to come back sometime.
Absolutely, man. We can definitely get you on again. It was a great show. It was a great interview. A nice time kicking it together and getting to kind of just bullshit with one another and get to know each other a little bit better, let the fans know a little bit more about you, and that's great. Definitely have to get you on in rotation again sometime coming up. And for
Indeed.
the fans listening out there, make sure you check Name Withheld's music out and check out his past releases. Buy anything merch-wise off of him, CDs, anything else that he might have apparel-wise, and support him as an artist. Check out his new album coming up, and buy that when the time comes, and just support good underground music. We want to thank you for listening tonight. As we said, May 30th, Demo Demon will be on the show at 9 p.m. with me, and we'll go ahead and talk about his new album coming up and a lot of other things he has going on with his career here on Uncovering the Underground. Once again, thank you, and everybody have a wonderful night. Brutal Business loves you, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.